Alistair Weaver here for Edmunds with a new Toyota Tacoma. In the next few minutes, we're going to tell you what's changed, what we like and what we don't. We're going to compare it to the much-loved old model, and mid-size rivals such as the new Ford Ranger, Chevy Colorado and GMC Canyon.
We're going to get personal with some of the new gadgets, including this portable speaker that forms part of the audio system. It can also be submerged in 3 feet of water. Why? No idea. And we're going to check out some of the new tech, including the optional hybrid and the multi-link rear suspension.
We don't have pricing yet, but reckon on around 30 to 60 grand when it goes on sale later this year. And there'll be no shortage of different trims, including the Trail Hunter, built for overlanding right out of the dealership. At this launch event, we had access to TRD Pro, TRD Sport, Limited and Trail Hunter trims, so don't be surprised to see me jump from truck to truck.
And now, without further ado, let's get on with it. Let's start with the interior where, let's be honest, the old Tacoma was really showing its age. Everything has a chunky, almost toy-like feel. This is the TRD Pro, so you get fake carbon fibre, lots of red and black, and a huge Toyota script right in front of the passenger, just in case they thought you'd bought a Ford. Toyota says their designers wanted to imagine a badass adventure machine. Yes, the new Tacoma is a badass adventure machine. So there you go. The Tacoma also borrows its infotainment screen from the Tundra here, measuring 14 inches, but in lesser trim versions that reduces to 8. In front of your eyes, another screen, 12.3 inches here, 7 inches in more poverty spec versions. There's even a screen available for the rear view mirror. Honestly, it's all getting a bit much. In today's mid-size market, the size of your screen is almost as important as the size of your bed, and by our reckoning, Toyota just edges it ahead of the new Ford Ranger and the Chevy Colorado. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard, although not on this early prototype it seems, and there's a good lineup of safety kit, an area in which the old Tacoma was sadly lacking. A wireless digital key is also available on every model, which means that you can use your good old phone to open the vehicle and start it up. But remember, overlanders, that only works if you've got a 4G signal.
And that little speaker sits on top of the dash, doubles as a center channel and automatically charges when you're on the move. That's cool.
Let's talk driving position, which was always one of the big failings of the old Tacoma. I did thousands of miles in one and you always felt like you were sat on the floor with a very kind of straight arm driving position. This is so much better. The wheel has plenty of adjustment, both in and out and up and down. And you've got, certainly in this TRD Pro, you've got a power adjustable seat. This feels good for me, and I'm 6'4", and I really like the aggressive view out down over the hood. Good work. Swapping to the TRD Sport to talk about the rear quarters. Charlie, this 6-foot hunk of a cameraman, has set this seat up for him. I'm 6'4", and as you can see, there's just about room for my knees, so it's okay, but not great. And as you can see, my knees are also positioned up a bit close to my chin. What else is going on in here? Well, a couple of cup holders, of course. I do like the fact that you've got a AC power output for charging things like a laptop, a couple of USB-C ports, and if I step outside, I can show you some additional storage options. Pull this handle here, and you actually reveal some really useful storage under the rear seats. But bear in mind, this is only on the gas versions. On the hybrid trucks, it's taken up by the batteries. Toyota reckons there's 3 times as much space under here as there was in the old Tacoma. I don't have enough tennis balls with me today to test that, so I guess we'll have to wait and see on that, but pretty useful all the same.
The Tacoma's built on a scaled-down version of the platform used by the latest Tundra and Sequoia, so you get a box steel ladder frame chassis designed with off-roading in mind, but with aluminum used for some of the body to keep the weight in check.
More interesting is what's happening under here. Lesser versions persist with leaf springs, but if you trade up market like this Limited, you swap the foliage for some coils in a multi-link setup. All Tacomas now have disc brakes all round and electric power steering. All of this is designed to answer justified criticism of the old model's on-road dynamics, but we'll have to wait until we drive it at the end of the year to find out whether it's really moved the needle. By the way, if you're struggling to keep up with all the trim packages and technical nuances, and believe me, there's a lot, then check out our full written review at Edmunds.com, where we also have all the latest information on all of its rivals.
On we go, let's talk engines, which might just be the Tacoma's party piece. There's a 2.4 litre turbo 4-cylinder with either 228 or 278 horsepower and an 8-speed auto.
Or you can have it with 270 horsepower and rejoice! A 6-speed manual gearbox, seen here in the TRD Sport.
Or, if you wait until early 2024, you can have a hybrid, which pairs the 2.4 with a 48 horsepower electric motor and the 8-speed auto. Called iForce Max, it goes full Top Gun with 326 horsepower and a mighty 465 pounds-feet of torque. That's 200 pounds-feet more than the existing V6 Tacoma, and by our reckoning, it's more than anything else in this class. No word yet on fuel economy estimates for any of these engines. Depending on engine choice, max towing is £6,500, which is okay, but not great. The new Ranger, Colorado and Canyon can pull at least £1,000 more. Max payload is £1,709, which is more impressive, but check your trim choice.
Let's talk beds. If you go for the extra cab, you get a 6-foot bed, or if you go for the double cab like this Limited, you have a choice of either 5 or 6 feet. And this model has an aluminum tailgate with a power function, and it's nice to see buttons at either side of the vehicle. Let's take a look inside. Now, Toyota reckons it's 7% bigger than the old Tacoma. They've achieved that by, frankly, making it a little bit deeper, although for shorter people, that might make it more difficult to throw things over the side. A couple of other things to point out. Every vehicle, whichever you choose, has an AC inverter. You get more power if you go for the hybrid version, and for the truly lazy, this power tailgate also works on the way up. Toyota's also making a big noise about the Tacoma's adventure aspirations, epitomised here by this Trail Hunter version, which is basically an off-the-shelf overlander. You have the choice of rear or four-wheel drive, disconnecting front sway bar, and all sorts of electronic gizmos to supplement your awesome skills.
They've also not been afraid to engage with the aftermarket to help differentiate the trims. The Trail Hunter has 33-inch Goodyear territories and an Oldman Emu suspension setup developed by Australia's ARB. The TRD Pro is more geared for faster off-road work with adjustable Fox shocks.
It also has these isodynamic performance seats, which look like they were pinched from RoboCop, but are designed to support your head and neck over rough terrain. Can't wait to try those. Only thing that, in my mind at least, is do they pinch even more valuable rear seat legroom? Built in Mexico and on sale by the end of the year, this new Tacoma is what I like to call a kitchen sink truck, by which I mean they've thrown everything at it. Beneath those aggressive new looks, which I absolutely love by the way, is a thoroughly modern truck with an armada of an impressive tech and a hybrid system that, on paper at least, looks hugely promising. Even on its deathbed, the old Tacoma was still America's best-selling mid-sized truck by a country mile, and it still scored well in the famous Edmunds rankings. But this segment is pretty much undergoing a full reboot, with new versions of the Ford Ranger, the Chevy Colorado, the GMC Canyon, all hitting the market this year. That's going to be an awesome group test. For the full deep dive on the new Tacoma and its rivals, head to Edmunds.com, and for all the latest trucks, news and reviews, please subscribe to this channel. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.